of Hollow House?
A psychological thriller. The first time Elliot Grayson saw Hollow House, something inside him screamed not to go in. It wasn't fear, not the kind that made your stomach twist or your hands shake. It was something deeper, more instinctual. A primal wrongness. It was the way the windows never quite aligned when you weren't looking. The way the house seemed closer than it had a moment ago. The way the air around it did not move, as if even the wind refused to touch it. But Hollow House belonged to him now. A strange inheritance from an uncle he barely remembered. A man whose name had slipped through the cracks of time. A legal claim passed down through generations, waiting for the right person to arrive. And now he was here, standing before the house that had been waiting for him. And from somewhere inside, a door creaked open, as if welcoming him in.
Chapter 1. The Man Who Wasn't There.
Elliot's hands tightened around the steering wheel as he pulled into the long, cracked driveway. The house loomed ahead, blackened by time, its windows dark and empty. The email had come 2 weeks ago.
Mr. Grayson!
You are the sole heir to the Hollow estate. Enclosed are the deed and keys. Your presence is required to complete the legal transfer.
We advise caution.
There are things about Hollow House you must understand. There was no signature, no return address, just those last ominous words. Elliot had laughed it off at first, until the nightmares began. They started subtly. Shadows moving in the corners of his vision, the feeling of being watched in his own apartment, a voice whispering his name in his sleep, and then the phone calls, always at 3:13 a.m, static. Then a voice that sounded like his own.
You need to listen to me. Do not go to the house.
He had changed his number, smashed his phone, but the calls never stopped. And now, standing in front of the house, he saw him, a man in a dark suit, motionless, expressionless. He stood near the porch, half hidden in the shadows. There was something wrong about him. Not just his stillness, but the way his features blurred, as if Elliot were looking at him through a warped window. Elliot blinked. The man was gone. The house remained, watching, waiting. Chapter 2. The House That Remembers. Inside, the house breathed, not literally, but Elliot felt it. The air was thick, humming with something just beyond his understanding. The house smelled wrong, not stale as it should after years of abandonment, but lived in, like someone had been waiting for him. He ran a hand over the old wooden table in the foyer. No dust. He stopped cold. Someone had been here. Somewhere in the house, a phone rang. Muffled, distant. Elliot turned toward the sound. It came from the end of the hallway, a locked door. A door that, according to the blueprints, shouldn't exist. The phone rang again. Louder. Urgent. Elliot hesitated, his breath shallow, then reached for the handle. Something slammed against the door from the other side. Bang! He jumped back, heart hammering. Silence. Then, in a voice identical to his own, from behind the door, "Don't open it." Chapter 3. The Voices Beneath the Floor. That night, Elliot barely slept. But when he did, the house spoke to him. Not in words, not at first. It started as a low hum, a sound vibrating beneath his skin. Then the whispers. Hundreds of voices, all speaking at once. Open the door, you are not alone. We remember. Elliot jolted awake. Darkness, silence. Then a soft knock beneath his bed. Slow, deliberate, once, twice. Something was inside the floor, and then, in a voice barely louder than a breath, "Elliot, I know you're listening." And Chapter 4, the room that wasn't there. Morning came wrong. Elliot stumbled out of bed, disoriented. The hallway outside his room felt longer. The mirrors reflected things that weren't there, and when he went to leave, the front door was missing, not locked, not barricaded, gone. In its place, a blank wall. The house had changed. It had trapped him inside. And then, from the upstairs hall, footsteps. Slow, heavy, coming toward him. Chapter 5, The Forgotten Ones. The house did not exist on normal time. Elliot felt it shifting, unravelling. Rooms changed, doors appeared and vanished. The past and present blurred together, and the whispers grew louder. In the mirror, he saw versions of himself. Older, younger, wounded, dead. Were they real, or just the echoes of the house's past victims? Somewhere inside Hollow House, something had been waiting for him. And now it was to be continued. This is just the beginning. Do you want to explore who or what the man in the suit is? The true nature of Hollow House? Or make it even more psychologically intense?